Like equality, our order symbols have some basic properties. And the first property we're going to discuss is one that is shared with equality. If A is less than B and B is less than C, then A is less than C. The same is true if equality is allowed. If A is greater than B and B is greater than C, then A is greater than C, and again the same is true when equality is allowed. This actually gives us a shortcut way of describing one value being between two others. If A is smaller than C and B is in between them, we write A is less than B is less than C. So this describes a picture that looks like this. A is on the left, C is on the right, and B is between them. Note, this string of inequalities only makes sense if A is less than C. I mean, we can still describe betweenness if we want to write the biggest number first. If U is the larger number and W is the smaller, and V is a number that's in between them, we write that U is greater than V is greater than W. So this is describing a picture that looks like this. W is on the left, U is on the right, and V is in between them. Again, this only makes sense if U is great. So just like equals signs, we can write strings of inequalities that do mean something, but we have to be careful that they continue to make sense when we keep in mind that inequalities are transitive. Alright, so that was a property that was the same as equality. Here's one that's very different. Remember that equality was symmetric. Inequality is just the opposite. It's never true that A is less than B and B is less than A at the same time. It's never true that A is greater than B and B is greater than A at the same time. If we use both symbols at once, in fact, we can reverse the order by reversing the symbol. If A is less than B, then B is greater than A. If A is on the left, then B is on the right. And of course this is true the other way round. If B is on the right, then A is on the left. We can still use this to rewrite inequalities. We just have to remember to switch the symbol. We can rewrite 5 is greater than x as x is less than 5. We can rewrite 5 is greater than or equal to x as x is less than or equal to 5. And finally, this is about the only mileage we're going to get out of mentioning the reflexive property of equality. The order symbols that include equality are also reflexive. Everything is always less than or equal to itself, and also greater than or equal to itself. The order symbols that do not include equality are the opposite of reflexive. It is never the case that A is less than A or A is greater than A. We call this property being irreflexive.